What's up, guys? It's Russ from Backyard Boat Works. So I guess I looked on my YouTube channel yesterday, and I think it's been almost 4 weeks since I posted a video last. So the reason being is, as you can see, I moved into a real warehouse workshop. My boatyard space that I had was a really good space. It was actually a lot bigger than this space here, and I had a lot more room to expand outside of the tent, but it just started to get really hard to work outside in the elements, especially in South Florida in the summer where it rains continuously. So anytime I had a lot of rain, my tools were outside, my fiberglass was outside, I was getting moisture in my glass, and you still have some of those issues here. But it's not as bad. And if I start some fiberglass work and then it starts to rain in the middle of it, it's just not good. So I decided to break down and rent a warehouse space. So this is an 11 by 35 with probably 20-ish ceilings, and I pay just about the same amount here that I was paying my landlord at my outside space. So not so much Backyard Boat Works anymore. So I'm making this video for two reasons: just to kind of show you a little bit of the new workshop, and also to show you my newest project. So also in the past month, I know my last couple of videos have been about my Paramount center console, and I always had a number in my head that I would sell the boat for. I wasn't advertising it, but somebody that was looking for a Paramount that was done and ready to go offered me money, and I took it. I mean, everything's really for sale. This fiberglass business is really starting to turn into more of a full-time gig for me, because it used to be just kind of a side hustle. My other company is apparel related, and I've been in that since 2007, and with all the supply chain shortages and everything right now, it's been really hard. Production delays, yada yada. So I started focusing more on the fiberglass stuff. So doing the boats and restoring the boats is where I'm really focusing most of my effort now, and I'm really going to try to push harder on the YouTube channel. So enough chit chat. Let me show you a little bit of the workshop. I'll show you what I've been doing over the past couple months, and I'm going to toss in a couple before and after photos that I have from my phone in here, so you can see what this place looked like before I started. All right, so like I said, this is an 11 by 35 warehouse, and you can see the ceilings are pretty high. So when I moved in here, this had a loft, and this loft went almost all the way to the front. I mean, I think it came almost all the way to here with only about 10 feet to spare, and it was really low. You can see the height on this loft here is probably maybe 6.5 feet. So there was no way I was going to be able to put a boat in here with that loft that came all the way back. So I lopped that section of the loft off, and this was probably built, I don't even know, 20-30 years ago, and I still have to do some reinforcement. But you can see here I added 2x6s to reinforce some of these cross beams and their supports that go down, and then I got a bunch of sheetrock just to cover the walls here, and I'll put in some photos so you can see. But the sheetrock was the cheapest way to go, and then I just loaded up my 3M paint gun and shot some latex paint over everything. So have a nice little workbench area here. I built the bench a little bit higher. It's about 42 inches, so you have everything at working height. You don't have to hunch over. A lot of this stuff is crammed in here right now because last night we put this in here, which I'll get to in a second. I got very fortunate that this shop had two 110 branches, so I was able to combine those to make a 240 to run my two-stage compressor, which is great because I really need this. To spray consoles or anything, you need this amount of air capacity. My small Husky oil-free just isn't enough to shoot even a center console. So up on here, this is my working loft area, so it's hard to see. Let me see if I can just pop the GoPro up here. So I think my plan with this area here is I'm going to make this my laminating station. So I'm going to put some plastic here on the wall just to keep the gel coat off. When I'm going to shoot my gel coat up there, I actually have some molds sitting on this that are prepped and ready to be laminated, and I might put a table up here with some melamine on the top of it on some wheels so I can laminate some larger pieces like maybe stringers, transoms, pieces of Cusa, deck, things like that. This space is about 11 by 12, so it's not huge, but it's enough for me to be up there rolling around. So a couple of days ago I realized I needed more space, so I decided to build this storage loft. It's too high to the ceiling for me. I could stand up there, but my head will hit the ceiling. So this is where I'm going to store my molds, my larger like console molds. You can see I have some 4x8 sheets of honeycomb and some foam. So that's what I'm going to use this for. I still need to put some supports going down. It's all screwed into the wall right now, so it's only being held up by the screws, but need to drop some 4x4s down just for some added strength. I'm not going to put a ton of weight up there, so I'm not overly concerned about it. So but this is a pretty good space. I wish it was a little bit more, but there's other units for rent in this facility, so if I ever needed to expand, the good part about this is it's month to month. So if I need a 10 by 10 for a month to store something, I'll rent a 10 by 10 for 1 month. They have 11 by 35s. If I decide to expand a little bit, it'd be great if the unit on the immediate other side of me was available, because then I could just put a door here and work on both sides. But usually the people that are in this facility, they stay in these units for a long time. The person that was in here before me was in here for a while. So I'm rambling, but I want to get to my latest project. Like I mentioned, I sold my Paramount. So yesterday we drove to Orlando, and my buddy had been eyeing up this boat for a while. He found it on Facebook Marketplace or maybe some other places, and this is a Four Winds U17. So this is a Donzi Sweet 16 knockoff, more or less, but it's a 17. The hull is almost the same. It's a little deeper in the front. Supposedly this hull has the chine walk issues at high speed, blah blah blah. We're going to try to resolve some of that with a bracket. We're going to put an outboard on this. So you can see here I got my 225 Optimax, and I think this transom is tall enough to accommodate a 25-inch. I think a 20-inch we could run into some issues. So I think we're going to stick with the 25-inch, but our plan is to make a platform bracket and then put maybe a 4-inch jack plate on the back. So let me show you a little bit about this. So this boat had a Volvo power plant and a Volvo outdrive. The guy that bought this boat, he has a Donzi, and he took the drivetrain out and put it in his Donzi, and he had this boat sitting in his yard for quite some time, and we ended up picking it up for $2,500. So it's solid. I mean, it just has normal gel coat cracks, but nothing major. I was kind of hesitant with the Four Winds brand, but I looked this boat over really well. The stringers are in great shape. Everything inside's in great shape. Obviously, we're going to pull all that out, and we're going to fill this in. You can see the transom here is, I was impressed. This is probably 2 inches here. Obviously, it's plywood, but I mean, it's bone dry, and it's pretty thick, but the thick part of the transom only comes to right here. So I think we're going to build it up. Let me show you on the inside. So my plan is, you can see here that the transom thickness only comes to right here. I mean, it's still pretty thick right here. This is probably 3/4 inch, and this is 2 3/4 inch with that's probably 7 or 8 layers of glass on the hull side. So a lot stronger than I expected. But I'm going to cut the stringers back to probably about here. We're going to run some knees up the transom, and I'm going to fill this in, obviously, and bring the inside part of the transom all the way out, probably as close as I can get it. And then I'm going to bring a support across the back and up the hull side slightly, just to reinforce this whole back section. Like I said, I'm actually really impressed with how thick this is here. But we're going to need to make sure that the port and the starboard sides here and here are strong enough to hold that bracket. Again, So the inside's great. Seats are a little moldy, but the seats supposedly were reupholstered recently. We have the back section here. We took it out so it didn't fly out on the highway. But really no cracking. I mean, a little bit here and there. There's some cracks there around the drain, but not too much. The hull itself is in really, really good condition. I mean, we could just clean this up and leave it, but I think we want to do a different color. You can see here just some of this minor stuff, really nothing that's a big deal to fix. I think the plan is to actually cut this right here, and we're going to move this bench seat from here back maybe to right about here and leave a little access door here so we can have some storage. But if we can move this bench seat aft into the space of where the big block used to be, small block probably, I think it was, you know, we're going to pick up a ton of interior space, so that'd be great. If we can get it back here, we'll have, you know, maybe 4 or 5 feet between the seat and the rear bench seat. Stay tuned to the channel. If you're wondering about the Paramount, the guy that bought it, he bought it with the deck unfinished, and he's supposed to bring it back to me sometime in the future to finish the deck. He wants me to paint the console, so the Paramount likely will show up in my videos again. I wish I could have gone all the way through my videos to finishing that deck, but you know, things happen, you know. Thanks guys, and hopefully I can stay consistent with the videos, and like and subscribe, you know the deal. I'll see you in the next one.